Hello guys, merry meet! Welcome back to My Pagan Life once again. I, for one, am having a fantastic day today. I really hope you're having an amazing day as well. Besides that, I hope you guys are all excited for today's video, because today we're going to be talking about something that I am fairly certain a lot of people are wondering about, especially you beginners out there. This particular video has been suggested by a viewer. As such, I do deeply hope that you guys will find the answers that you need in this video, but that you, almost more importantly, find what I have to say interesting. Because here's the deal, just like with any other video I make, this is solely my experience and my opinion. I'm not saying that this video contains a whole bunch of unpopular opinions, because I do genuinely believe that a lot of people will agree with me on this. But in case you wish to question me or you don't agree with me, I just want you to know that this is in no way the 100% truth. It is my experience, my opinion, that I am sharing with you guys. So without further ado, fellow human beings, let us get into tip number 1, which is experimentation. The reason why I'm doing a bit of this is because if you've heard anyone talk about how to get into Wicca, you've probably heard this before. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. This video is about how to get into Wicca without reading a lot. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, just to get it out of the way, is because I truly believe there are 2 ways of really excelling in your craft, and there are 2 methods, just 2 ways to really get into Wicca, paganism, and witchcraft. The first way is to attain knowledge through actual study. So I'm talking like reading articles, reading books, reading, or maybe it's watching videos, or something where you actually directly get knowledge into your brain through just active study. I'm just basically calling it active studying because you're literally gaining knowledge while you're doing it, and you're getting very specific knowledge. It's basically what you do a lot at school. Some people have written books or written articles so that you can take that knowledge and directly put it into your head. Sure, it's going to take some time to actually manifest, but you're basically just taking that knowledge from that paper and putting it into your brain directly. The other way of excelling in your craft and really getting into Wicca or paganism and witchcraft, if that's what you're going into, is through experimentation. What you're literally doing is that you're not having anybody else tell you what you need to know. You're not having anybody else tell you what is right. You are using your own creativity and imagination and your own dedication to actually figure things out for yourself. Through experimentation, you're basically taking what you know from before through that active study process, and you're actually putting it into practice, and you're using the knowledge you also gain from that experience to further improve your practice. Both reading and experimentation are ways to gain knowledge. It's not like you read from a book and then you take that knowledge into practice and then call it experimentation. Experimentation is also a way of gaining knowledge. It's just that when you take knowledge from a book, you can also then apply it in the practical sense and put it like into the practical physical world. What I'm basically trying to get at is that there are 2 main ways of gathering knowledge, whereas reading is a process where you just absorb the information somebody else is giving you. Experimentation is more about figuring out what's right and not being given the answer directly, but figuring it out and then further applying it later into your future practice, or whatever you want to call it. Now, the most important thing to take from tip number 1 is that you can't read yourself to success in Wicca, paganism, and witchcraft. You need to, at some point, take that knowledge into practice. You can read a whole bunch of stuff on how to set up an altar, but you're not going to get an altar or have experience using an altar and its tools if you never set up an altar. And while I am a huge advocate of reading your way through the basics and actually gathering that knowledge through reading, I also acknowledge that if you can't use that information and use it for something practical, then that is something that's going to most likely stop you from actually moving forward in your practice. Basically, two main ways of attaining knowledge. In my opinion, you definitely need both of them, but if you are going to focus more on the experimentation side of things, you don't have to read yourself through everything. Tip number 2 is to get an overview of what it is you wish to learn. I know that this can seem like a very complicated task for those of you who don't know what you need to know in Wicca, and perhaps paganism and witchcraft, and it's just difficult to assess for beginners. But that's why I have a video to help you guys that I made for, I don't know, maybe like a year and a half ago. It's basically a tiny beginner curriculum for Wicca. So it's Wicca specifically. It can entail witchcraft and paganism too, but it's mainly Wicca. And this is just a video where I briefly mention the things within Wicca, the basics of Wicca that I find the most essential for beginners to learn. While it doesn't go into any detail whatsoever, it may actually help you understand where you should start and what it is you should focus on learning. You really don't have to read up on it too much, because the moment you get the basics of it down and you understand what it is you want to learn, it will be easier to do more experimentation rather than a whole bunch of reading. Tip number 3 is to gather information from websites. The reason why I'm mentioning this important tip is because, one, the internet is free and there is so much information on the internet that you can just get without paying a single dollar or kroner or whatever currency you use. The second thing is that websites are usually more concise and short than books. Not to mention the fact that a lot of websites and a lot of articles manage to pack a lot of information into such a concise text. I am a believer in the fact that you can't really excel in Wicca, paganism, and witchcraft without doing some reading, but there really isn't any point in reading more than you have to, unless you are, you know, like me, where you like to attain more knowledge than you actually have to in the beginning. But my advice to you is to make it as simple as possible. This is a lifelong process. You have your entire life to figure out your path. Wicca, paganism, and witchcraft, it doesn't matter what it is. You have all the time in the world to figure things out. And if you want to attain more knowledge later, then that is perfectly doable, perfectly fine. Don't rush things. The more easy you make it for yourself now, the more motivated you probably are going to be, and you're probably going to be able to digest that information a lot easier. And tip number 4 is to watch videos. The only bad thing about videos is that a lot of videos are low quality, but finding the high quality videos that you are looking for is honestly not that hard, because it's pretty easy to tell between the very low quality videos and the high quality videos. And while there is less information here on YouTube than there is on the internet in general, because there are less videos on a variety of topics, trust me, there are a whole bunch of pagan, Wiccan, and witchy YouTubers out there. Having people talk to you directly through the camera about Wicca, paganism, and witchcraft is a very efficient way, not to mention fun way, of attaining or gathering knowledge. As a YouTube pagan and as a pagan YouTube video content creator, I'm hoping that you will find my channel helpful. I try to the best of my ability to share my experience and also teach along the way. And on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like this video, comment down below. Sharing is also caring, so I truly appreciate you guys spreading the word. Make sure to check out the description for more information on how you can support My Pagan Life, and if you don't wish to donate or answer my most recent survey, there's always the option of subscribing. So please everyone, feel free to contribute in whatever way you see fit, and until next time guys, blessed be from My Pagan Life.